Yeah.
It's that time of the week, it's time to get wild. Pete Wild, Pete Wild. As the teams are discussed in our unprofessional style. We're not here to pull punches, we're not here to play nice. We're here to talk football as your teams roll the dice. From transfers to matches, from rumors to stats, the lower league look, the place it's all at.
We're back. Oh, I just headbutted my microphone, but we are back. Guys, welcome to Sunday night's review show. Hannah, just before we get into this, did you enjoy it that time around, the theme song? Is it growing on you?
When it started, I had a little bit of a flashback and I'd forgotten I can't really verbalize I mean,
It makes you emotional, doesn't it?
Enjoy it. Maybe when I've heard it a few more times, it'll grow on me.
Maybe so. Well, someone who does like it is Pete Wild. So we can, and that's me. Is the only reason I made it. So if we've got a thumbs up and the seal of approval from the man himself, guys, welcome to Sunday night's review show. And for the first time ever, we're all sat here and our teams have won. This is weird.
I know this is going to be a very rare thing. I think that all of us, all the rings combined, especially like if there was a Donny fan here, they won as well.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's surreal. It's really weird to be in this position where you kind of don't really have. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't have any negatives to my team and what we did this weekend. Five is here.
Five will crack on. I'm sure being 5 will have it out later, no worries.
Yeah. So for anyone who's listening on Spotify who hasn't got the visuals, so we've got myself, Liam, we've got Hannah, we've got Ronan for Barrow, we've got Ben and Fife for Swindon, and we're going to go through the games. We're going to go through the gossip, and we're going to talk about a little bit of everything. But let's start on transfers, guys, because I like starting on transfers, and I think that while we're in silly season, first one, the big one, I suppose, is Negru back to Salford.
Yeah,
massive signing for them. He was in talks with League One clubs, so yeah. I mean,
it's absolutely the right thing for him. I think it's the right thing for Oxford. You see players getting pushed up a league, they're not necessarily ready, and it can be the death of their career. So I think someone is giving him very good advice. And yeah, happy for him that he'll, finish the season at Salford. If his stats continue as they were, he's in with a shout for Team of the Year, Player of the Year, all of those kind of accolades that go with it. Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, Salford are on a little bit of a downward turn since a really enjoyable evening at the Etihad. They lost to Fleetwood last week, and that could be new manager bounce, but Cheltenham yesterday as well. So he started on the bench. I think that he came on. I will verify that. I mean, obviously, as a diehard Salford fan, I'm all over it. Yeah, I think it's the best thing for him, and the best thing, and hopefully it'll be one of those kind of occurrences that higher position teams look at and they say, oh, but look what happened when Stefan Negru went back to Salford. Yeah. He ended up being, sold on for, whatever more, and it absolutely made sense.
He came on in the 58th minute.
You see, I knew that all along.
Yeah, he did. As a diehard Salford fan of 2 weeks, you knew that. Yeah. I suppose if we're looking at Salford, like you say, they've lost the last couple. It's not the greatest. I don't want to say the greatest run because it's a blip. Let's be honest. Right now, it's a blip. It could turn into more. But when you look at the fact that they've got Newport next, you kind of go, that's where they go. Right, we need to pick up 3 points, and Fifey, Ben, you guys you guys know what Newport offer, and it's not much. We'll come to your game. We'll come to your game, I suppose, first after we just talk about any transfers, any more transfers, any more news or anything like that. I know that Graham Alexander has come out and said that Bradford don't have any incomings or outgoings close. He's lying through his teeth. We have an outgoing ready to go that the club are trying to push through. I'm not going to go into who, I'm not going to go into where, but they are pushing this player to accept a deal at another League Two club as well, which is massive. And I think it'll be one that shocks people as well when it comes out. People will go, hang on, why is he going there? So, yeah, there is an outgoing on the table. The clubs have agreed the deal. It's down to the player to agree. So it's close. And I think when a player doesn't feel wanted to that degree, they're gonna go out there. Especially when you see the deal and you kind of go, all right, okay, makes sense. Yeah. You guys heard anything?
Wheatley?
Yeah, I was going to say Wheatley's the one that caught my eye, and obviously Ben in particular will want to talk about Wesley. But yeah, Wheatley's the one that caught my eye. Obviously, his debut wasn't ideal circumstances for him at the weekend, but he's. We were talking off camera. He was there. He was Man United's like Academy Product Player of the Year last year. He has had actual first team appearances for Man United, which is the equivalent of sort of playing League One standard football at the moment anyway. Yeah. So I think when it clicks, I think we'll sort of have signed a decent player there, to be fair.
Yeah. I think
you suggested like he looked good in flashes as well, considering the game was done when he came on. You could see there was a talent there.
I'm quite thankful we were so out of sight when he came on. He looked good. He looks good. You can see that look, Man United build players in a certain way, and you could see that in him. You could see that
they never worked for us. They tend to do really well, or they don't. I don't know whether it's they lack the kind of flexibility to play in a different style. But we've had a couple, and every time someone pops up now, I don't know, but he might be brilliant. Gillingham have got a lad from Chelsea. I think he's like 19. He looks even younger, in fairness. Jimmy J. Morgan, but he's another one, kind of England youth international, gone between Chelsea and Southampton, I think. But I love this. I love these, like, the players that have kind of, I don't know, the printers just suddenly started like spitting paper out. These kind of young players that will likely be, household names in the next few years, or maybe not likely, but some of them do.
I might have this wrong, but did either Grimsby sign someone from MK Dons today, or the other way round as well?
Grimsby have signed someone today.
Barrow signed someone from MK Dons, didn't they?
MJ Williams, we signed on Wednesday, Thursday, something like that.
And Grimsby have signed Dara Burns from MK Dons.
Yeah, I enjoyed the Burns night puns.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Nice.
the thing is, well, like, you look at players like that, it just kind of shows how the league is progressing and moving forward. Because you look at Dara Burns, he was at Shamrock last season or at the beginning of this season. I don't really know when he came in.
He's playing Conference League this year.
You're playing UEFA Conference League, and it's like, it's a big step. It's a huge step. So this MK Dons have kind of got a bit of an overload of players, and people seem to be picking them off and trying to get them.
They've also signed Nathan Thompson as well, which we were obviously all
Very
talking
good
about on
sign.
Friday night.
Yeah, that happened just before the stream, didn't it?
We were all gutted.
Yeah. No, it's a real shame about Nathan Thompson, because every Swindon fan, heart to heart, just thought at some point he might end his career at Swindon, because we love the Thompson brothers, but the feeling is mutual as well. He does care about us, but not enough. He's gone to MK.
It's not that he doesn't care enough, is that MK Dons probably offered significantly more than anything he might have offered.
He's not willing to work for a couple of Kit Kats a week, so
no.
I think he wanted to play for Swindon's best manager of the last couple of years, Scott.
Yeah, Scott Lindsay.
That's what it was.
He's a good fit for them anyway. He's a good fit.
Yeah. Well, let's look at the match.
And the good thing about that, sorry,
no, go on.
Is at least that should stop people saying that Will Wright will sign for MK Dons any day.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing?
I might not be his biggest fan, but we still can't deny he is one of Swindon's better players.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at least that stops that nonsense for a bit.
But that's such a like an eye-opening thing to say. I'm not a fan of him, but he's one of.
Oh yeah, but I just have this dislike to him personally. So, well, no, not personally. I don't mean that as like he's a horrible person. It's just every time I watch him, whether I go to a game or it's on telly, everything that everyone tells me about him on the days I don't go, I never get to see. Like, apparently he's this brilliant ball-playing centre-back, and I've never seen him complete a pass.
Well, let's talk about his performance on Friday then. Guys, I'm bringing this one back.
Just like Manchester.
I genuinely thought you were bringing back the "Wants to See You Pee" song. And
no, Fivey, would I do that?
Essentially, they just wanna watch you piss. Essentially, they just wanna watch you piss. Essentially, they just wanna watch you piss. Essentially, they just wanna watch you piss.
Possibly my favourite thing.
One of the first things my dad said to me yesterday was, "Is there any update on what's going on at Swindon with the toilets?"
We're massive. We've got people up and down the country interested in Swindon.
I was working on Friday, and my phone pinged, and the message just said, essentially, they just want to watch you piss, and that's all it said. And I was like, it's going places to people that don't normally pay attention to it. I'm like, this is, it's
testament to Liam's professionalism as well. His phone pinged later in the day as well and said, just in case you're bored on a Friday night, here's a link to StreamYard. He clicked it, not knowing what it was for. Yeah, and then he spent the next 3 hours on stream with me.
Didn't actually know what I was joining. If I'm honest, I was laying on the couch. I had did I have a McDonald's? I think I had a McDonald's.
You had a McDonald's, you had a bobble in your hair.
I had a bobble in my hair because Ella had put a bobble in my head. I had no idea what was going on. And in the end, I ended up 3 hours balls deep into a Swindon Town stream.
Doing a full watch along.
And in typical Swindon Town fashion, the show ended with me going, guys, don't get ahead of yourselves. And the Swindon Town chat going, Holloway's saved us. And I'm going, no, he hasn't. He hasn't. You've played 3 games more. Please don't get ahead, because we do this every time and we end up back here. Let's not do it again. And then so it ended up with me versus Swindon fans, which is typical. Let's be brutally honest. We all expect it. But let's talk about the match, because that was the first match of the weekend. And obviously I watched it. I don't know if you guys watched it, Ron and Hannah. Did you get to see any of it on Friday night?
I didn't.
No, I missed it. I didn't watch any of it.
You don't want to.
Yeah, it wasn't a great advert for League
Two.
Classic. I watched the highlights, that helps.
I enjoyed it, though.
Yeah, well, you will do it. Any away game that you win, you enjoy, Ben. Yeah.
So time.
Let's talk through it. Fifey, I'll come to you first, because what I want is I want you to get your out, and then I want Ben to bring the atmosphere up.
And is this because I didn't, again, because you were on mine on Friday, I was sort of just asking questions. I wasn't giving any real opinions.
Well, no, it's more because so Kieran, one of the guys on Fools Rush In, was saying...
Wait, which one? Newport Kieran or Swindon Kieran? Because they were both a barrel of laughs on Friday night.
Swindon Kieran said at the end of the stream, he went, we've got to this point now. We have a structure. Everyone seems to know what they're doing. And I went, how many times in this stream did Fifey scream out, "Oh, for fuck's sake"? I was like, that.
Oh, he does that anyway. He does that anyway.
And in complete honesty, I was the same watching it. I was like, oh, there's a lot. If you'd have played on Friday, let's say you'd have played, and this isn't me blowing my own horn, but that Bradford side that played Walsall, had you played us Friday, you'd have lost. If you'd have played it, in my opinion anyway, I think if you'd have played a team that kind of had anything about them, and Newport really don't at the minute, you'd have lost, because you gave so many opportunities to them, which were just silly mistakes. But go on, Pfeiffer.
I'm desperately trying to remain positive about the situation. We're still not fantastic to watch. I think any Swindon fan would say that's fair. We're not We're not the sort of team that's going to blitz 60+% possession, create chance after chance after chance. And I mean, I keep seeing the odd fan here and there saying, it's going to click soon and someone's going to get smashed. Nobody's getting smashed. There is not a chance anyone is getting smashed at the moment by this Swindon team. We're not. But, and I think it might have actually been, Ronan, I said to the other week, one thing we are good at is we're clinical with chances. When we actually create an opportunity, we will score it. And that's kind of what we did again. We are getting better. I can't say we won't. We are getting better. The winning goal was incredibly well taken. I won't steal Ben's thunder because I know he'll want to talk about that. It was incredibly well taken. I still maintain we're better off the ball than we are on it.
Yeah, I didn't understand what you meant by that before the game, but
now you've seen it.
Understand. Yeah, because when you
there is
the ball,
Holloway has installed this sort of. There is for want of a better phrase, there is a structure for what we do off the ball, and there is a certain understanding. But more importantly, which we didn't seem to have under Kennedy, is there is the things that the fans would expect as the minimum. The things that I've said to you and Hannah, say like a month or two ago, the things that we're desperately missing. There is a certain level of like the professional pride, the absolute basics, the wanting to do your job. The defenders, to a large extent, will defend. They're not particularly good at it, but they will defend. The midfield are now putting pressure on. You notice, for example, if Clark or Offerball are missing, you notice that midfield is a lot less physically inclined. Kilkenny does try, to be fair to him, and is quite good at it, but not as good as the other two I mentioned. And then we still don't have a distinct sort of way that we play when we have the ball and we're looking to attack. But what we do have is an understanding that Smith will win stuff in the air. So if all else fails, I was saying to you, Liam, on Friday, I would love Swindon. Like, I think there are players there who, in theory, can get the ball down and actually play a bit. First instinct is to just hit it long, whether it's long into a channel for someone to chase or long into the middle for Smith to win. It's not pretty. It has been reasonably effective of late. Yeah. And that is something that has improved because we weren't reasonably effective at anything. Was it an entertaining game to watch? No. Do I think we deserve to win? A draw was probably fair, but if anyone deserved to win, I would say it was us. Mm-hmm. And if we didn't win, it would have been our own fault because, as you were suggesting earlier, with the exception of, and what I will say, as good as Wesley's goal was, the Newport goal was just as good a finish because they were both instinctive in terms of the finishes. But we would have been victims of our own downfall because of sort of silly mistakes, like players falling over, tripping over the ball, allowing Newport to counter on us. I mean, as you said, we had both Kierans on. We had Swindon Kieran and Newport Kieran on after the game, like as they were leaving the stadium. And the fact that both of them came on and said the game was a bit shit. I mean, Newport Kieran was gutted. He was absolutely gutted that it ended the way it did. But yeah,
he openly said though, didn't he? He openly said Swindon was shit. We were shitter.
Yeah, that's how he analysed. That was his sum up of the game. Swindon was shit. They were shitter. And it is right. He'd said to us in the preview, and you said yourself, Newport are very one-dimensional. They have one way they want to play at the minute, and they don't seem to have a plan B or C, which is how, Ben, me and you discussed earlier in the season. Like under Kennedy, that's how we were. Mm-hmm. We only had one way we wanted to play. Even when we would make subs, it would just carry on just with different people. We do seem to have something that resembles a game plan now that can be changed. I mean... the one thing I will say, and Ben, I know you were there, so you didn't hear everything that we were talking about on Friday night. But when the substitutions were made, I was like, I was screaming at Shimanga time after time after time, and then decided that he's actually a better defender than he is a striker because he was actually effective at helping us defend the lead, whereas he could have won us, like he could have wrapped up the game and decided not to.
Well, there was a point with Shimanga. Sorry, Hannah, you'll like this, and we're going to just about the mistakes as well for Ronan and Hannah who didn't mention it. Pipey mentioned there about who didn't watch. Pipey mentioned there about tripping over the ball. Hannah, when I say falling over the ball, I mean unmarked. Ball comes to his feet. He tries to run left, but the ball doesn't move. So he falls over, and somehow the ball goes right, straight to the Newport player who runs on to goal. Like, it was, honestly, we were all going, how has he done? Like, how has he done that? But on Tshimanga, there was a point, and I pointed out, because me and Fifey were watching on Sky.
Yeah,
so
we were watching on Sky,
ahead.
the others were streaming.
They were behind.
Oh, right. So you were a little bit ahead.
Yeah, Tshimanga got the ball probably about 30 yards out, and he's got, I don't know who your right winger is, but he's got this player on the right sort of run the overlap, and then he's got his right back following that player in. Tshimanga, the right back and the right winger, against one defender at this point. Tshimanga plays it to the right back. The defender's gone the overlap and he's making a run. Sorry, the winger's made the overlap and he's making the run. And Tshimanga, out of the two, passes it backwards. And I went, guys, I said, it's coming up in about 20 seconds. Please explain to me what Shimanga's doing. And everyone just went, I have no idea what he's doing. And I think he's lacking a bit of confidence as well in his play. I think he's lacking in his ability to pass the ball forward, and he's taking the really safe option
a lot of people have summed it up in terms of our attackers. Like Smith's doing his job. No one can argue Smith's doing his job.
Yeah.
But obviously Wesley's come on his debut and scored within minutes with again an instinctive finish, and it was arguably our best bit of play that got there in the whole game. But I've seen quite a few people making the comparison that this is the difference. He's a young lad who's obviously come in with a bit of enthusiasm, whereas the likes of Tshimanga, Glatzel, to an extent, Drinan as well, where they've just been in the mire of, I just can't seem to score. Like Tshimanga had virtually the same chance and missed. And like, I'm quite an expressive watcher. So, and again, because me and Liam were ahead, Liam's seen this awful, what I described as an awful miss. To be fair, the defender has deflected out for a corner. But I'm like, I'm screaming, and like my head is in my hands, and I'm like, I don't care if the defender's blocked it. The defender has absolutely no right to block that.
Yeah.
And people are making a comparison that this is a difference. Like Tshimanga and Glatzel in particular, they just shot of confidence, whereas Wesley's come in, he's like, yeah, I can do this, and bang, a couple of minutes in, and like Ben, you were obviously there, and you'll have a different view of it entirely. But talk about the winning goal, mate, because it was very well taken.
So just before you do, Ben, Hannah, did you have something to add on that?
It was just about, I think...
no, sorry, it was me that interrupted her, not you.
No, Newport's issue is... It was kind of going back to talking to Kieran after the game, and I know that Kieran can be quite sensitive about, when, like, the kind of the toil that it takes on you when you're on a poor turn of form, and that's their fifth defeat in a row, and Jardim doesn't seem to have a plan. Like you're saying, what do they do? Well, his plan, as kind of presented after the game, is that he's relying on the team's character to get them through. That's not a great plan when you're 5 defeats in a row. Relying on the team's character to turn things around is a disaster. And I think, I mean, obviously Hugh Jenkins is 2 years in now?
Yeah, I expected a hell of a lot more.
Do you know what? Maybe it's only a year actually since it was all ratified, because it was not long after when I was down there. Yeah, it did. And I think he's been criticised for not kind of making, because he made a lot of preemptive changes while it was going through. But yeah, I feel for the Newport fans, because there was something on Twitter today saying they don't know that it can necessarily turn around. They need bigger changes than they think are coming.
Yeah.
Sorry, tell us about the goal and bring.
No, there's a lot. Newport are potentially in a lot of trouble. Ben, talk to us. You were at the game. How did you see? How did you see the mistakes? I think first of all, before you come at the goal, how did you see the mistakes?
The game itself, it's a Friday night under lights in a near packed house, and something that's seen as a must win, definitely for Newport, and like Swindon really avoiding defeat, really. But Swindon going in with awful away form. They've only won once all season, or one poxy away game all season, as the manager said. He's only got 3 draws under his name away from home. So Swindon are awful away from home, pretty much, other than like the odd performance. They've not been good away. So it was always not going to be the festival of football, League Two advert, come watch this. It's going to be two teams, Swindon unsure away from home and Newport just trying to get any sort of form together. I think the game was really what was quite as expected. There was mistakes. It was tense. I think Newport for the first half an hour, after they scored, were well up for it. I think for the first half, they were the better team, and I thought they battled okay, and I thought they moved the ball about okay. One of the big differences when it started to go against them, they sort of crumbled a little bit because they had no confidence. When Swindon scored, when Newport scored, the big difference is confidence. When Newport scored, Swindon went straight up the other end and scored, equalised straight away. And the goal scored by Smith was only scored by a goal striker in form because he didn't even think about it. He just hit it from out of the box, went straight in, loved it. But Newport, soon as it went 2-1, Edgewood, they were never equalising. I never at any point during the second half did I think we're going to concede. And I think there was only going to be a Swindon winner. That was the feeling behind it's coming. At some point, it's coming. And, we should have really extended it. You say that we don't create a lot. At home we do, because we're out of the bottom 12, there's only MK Dons and Cheltenham scored more goals than us. And you consider at the start of the season, there's goals in our team. And I thought we should have killed them off, really. We should have buried them. But, I didn't feel like I was saying it towards the end, because I turned to John, I went going, are you thinking what I'm thinking? I was like, they spanned another cross over the bar or something. And I says, I'm not going to say it, though, because I was just thinking, there's no chance. I'm the most nervous Swindon fan when we're winning, but I'd never felt that we were going to chuck it at any point.
I find your take on the first half really interesting, though, Ben, because
I thought Newport were a better team at half time. I don't know when we came on. I thought we were shit. I thought largely we were shit, but I thought Newport looked all right. I thought they moved the ball all right. I thought both their wingers caused us all sorts of problem. I was well chuffed when Hudden went off, or whatever, Hudden. I was well chuffed when took him off. I was like, cracking that, because he was useful in both boxes.
And this is why it's always fascinating. This is why it's always fascinating.
It's different when you're there, you're not, but I thought we struggled with them, because you've got to remember the Swindon back three is a makeshift back three, because we've got Ollie Clark playing as right centre back. That tells you about how our back three. So we've got a centre midfielder playing at right centre back, and then we've got we've got the other two. We've got Drine, we've got Wright, the other two. All the others are injured, so we're needing them to get back. So there's going to be a little bit of nervousness about them, but.
Yeah, the point I was going to make is the difference between being there and sort of seeing it on TV, because I was very much of the opinion like Newport's goal seemed to come when we were the better side, in my opinion, and then our goal came when they were the better side. They're like two goals came against the run of play, but when Newport scored, I agree.
There was only 3 minutes of difference between the two.
No, he means your winner.
I mean,
the winner. The winner.
I was against the run of play, and your winner was against the run of play.
I thought we started the better, and then they scored, grew in confidence, and then they were much better team. And then for our winner, I thought they looked more dangerous, but we scored against the run of play.
You may well be right.
I sat, Ben, and you're like this. On Friday, I sat on the stream and said I was in a rant about Kyle Hudley.
He was.
I was mid-rant.
By the way, Liam is strangely obsessed with Hudley.
Yeah, but I was going, he is shite. He has offered nothing. He has absolutely shite. Mid-sentence, he fucking scored. So I had to change it up. But obviously, hang on 1 second.
Obviously, the guys were slightly behind on the stream, so they hadn't seen the goal yet. So Liam's just completely changed his tone mid-sentence.
Yeah, I had to, and literally, as he scored, I'm going, he's shite. He scores. I know they haven't seen it, and I go, but you know what? I think he's all right. I think he'll come good. I think he'll do well. And then he scores the.
But the same thing happened with our winner.
Same thing happened with your winner. I was tearing Swindon apart. I was talking about how poor it was, and they scored while I was talking about it. And I was like, I'm just going to fucking shut up at this point because I can't win.
Hudlin is absolute dog water, by the way. Like, he's absolutely awful. He's not a footballer. I'll back you up on that.
Maybe it's because like the end we're in, I'm stood directly behind the goal. I'm to see the far end. I'm having to look round the goal to watch it because their goals are quite low down. But yeah, it's just different. It's sometimes a bit different when you're there, but you have a better view of it. If he looked absolute shite, because half the mistakes, well, if they're at the far end, you can't see too well. But you mentioned about Swindon winner.
He's 6'6", 6'7", and he can't win a header. Like in the attacking box, he cannot win a header, and that's what was stressful, because that's
50 pence piece.
Yeah, it doesn't go nowhere where you need it to, and that's what we were kind of looking at. Like if I'm a manager that signs a Kyle Hudlin, I'm looking at playing him as a target man and hoping that he just smashes headers in for me.
Absolutely,
there's none of it.
Harry Smith type. But you mentioned the winner itself. Joe Wesley. You read what the Bury fans say, and apparently he's an old-fashioned fox in the box type striker. That he'll come alive in the box, but he won't do much else around the pitch. And that's exactly what we got for 15 minutes. The goal itself, he sort of drifted into a little bit of space in the crowded penalty area, and his finish was, well, he's like he was a 30-goal striker in his early 30s. It was so, well, he knew exactly what he was doing, and it's instinctive. So that was brilliant. He's only played for 15 minutes. He might be. I remember signing a player called Elliot Benyon when we sold Charlie Austin. And we sold Charlie Austin. We had this player in from Torquay. We paid like 6 figures for him. And he's like, right, this is Elliot Benyon. He's going to replace Charlie Austin. He scored in his debut and didn't score again, and we got relegated. So we can't.
It's worth saying as well that Wesley just physically looks like the reincarnate of Alan Connell.
Oh yeah, I've seen that photo. I know you quite love him as well.
I love Alan Connell.
But we all love him. Alan Connell. If he can be half as good as Alan Connell, then I'm having it. But
just before we move on from Swindon, just one thing that I disagree with you on, and it's something I mentioned on Friday. I don't think that finish was instinct.
No.
I think that was a very clever finish, because for me, when that ball's coming in from the right hand side and your player's coming into the box, your natural instinct is to play it into that bottom left hand corner, because it's the trajectory of the ball. Yeah. It's to just basically divert that ball into that bottom corner. He didn't. He hit that ball into the opposite corner. I think that for him was a very, very good finish, and it wasn't an instinct finish. It was a I know what I'm doing here finish. So I'm giving him more credit than you guys are, I suppose. I think that was a much better finish than
that's because you saw Alan Connell as well. And
I did see Alan Connell. Yeah. Well, that was my view on it.
He said in the post-match interview, and again, the ball skipped up, it bounced as the cross came in, so he had to adjust a bit. And I'm thinking, well, that's brilliant.
So that he knows to do that, and he's ready to do that, because it kind of came a little bit behind him as well.
Which is a great sign.
Just the last thing I want to say on it, because I hate that you guys end up spending so long talking about Swindon.
Oh yeah, we'll move on.
But Ben will be able to clarify. I didn't even notice when we were watching it, but I'm led to believe, and John wouldn't forgive me for not mentioning it, that the Newport keeper was getting pelters from the Swindon fans for being about 3'5".
Yeah, no, he was getting. Well, in your away end, it's a patch when the goalkeeper's there. And, it's all your fault, and all the songs and start come out. We were giving him pelters throughout the second half. It all started when I think they fluffed a corner and he started shouting, and defenders started shouting at each other and pointing at each other. And so from then on, Townsend just got a load of shit through the second half, which happens really on away days. Yeah. John also called at half time Swindon would win 2-1 and Joe Wesley will come off the bench and score a winner. He's going, should I put a belt on it? I was like, yeah, go on. Oh, put a belt on it. And he was.
I think he was also saying stuff like, you'll never get on Nemesis and stuff like that.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, it was great. But it was a lovely away day, because we're all packed into one end. So we're all having a lovely time. They've got a nice bar in Newport as well. So the away end at Newport, I don't know if you've been or not. Quite a good bar there. And
no one started my Clem Morfuni, he watches us piss chant.
I watched back I watched back a little bit of the watch along, or the chats on the watch along, and that's Kieran's fault. He should have sung it, and he never did. So Kieran,
that was my request. Well, look, Swindon, obviously a great result for you. We won't talk about the upcoming game, because we're going to do that on Wednesday, Thursday, whenever we do the preview episode, which we're going to do. So let's move on to the other winner in the night. In the day, Ronan. Let's talk about it. Grimsby came up to Holker Street and shit themselves when they saw Barrow Dan sat in the stand, didn't they? That's what happened. Really.
To be fair, who hasn't really? I can't blame him, can you?
No, he's an intimidating bloke.
fella.
He's an intimidating bloke.
If you met with a black alley, you'd turn it away.
Well, yeah, but mainly because he'd have a bunk bed behind him, but that's a bit different. He says, but Hannah, his bunk bed's actually featured on the podcast, hasn't it? That's the best part about it. It came up in my memories this morning. The bunk bed incident came up in my memories today, and I've saved it. It's so good.
It was a year. I think it was. I remember I was in Philadelphia, so yeah, it was January.
It was the 5th of January.
It was one of my favorite podcasts, in fairness.
Yeah, and you can see mine and Hannah's reaction to Bunk Bed Gate. But yeah, talk to us about the game. Talk to us about what actually went on and how you guys tore Dave Artell and his team apart, really.
Yeah, the first half was a bit drab, to be honest. There was not much to write home about. We kept a really good shape and looked really disciplined, and we just sort of let them have the ball. I think they had something like 75% possession of the ball in the first half, which sort of tells you what we really watched, to be honest. But we looked a good side. We were compact, we're in a unit. They wanted us to engage and press and allow them to unlock us, and we just sat in shape. And we nicked the goal at the perfect time just before half time, and then it was a good finish by Robbie Gotts. And then from then on, we looked complete control of the game. And I was really, really happy with the way we played. Smith took his goal really well, and I was glad to see him scoring. And in the end, Vassell scores a really good header from a well-worked corner. But I was just really, really happy to see. It was nice because it was like smiles on your face again because you've won. But you were watching something, and even when we didn't have the ball or Grimsby had like that amount of possession, you could see what we were trying to do. Mm-hmm. And I think I will always be patient as a football fan if you can see what evidently you're trying to do on the pitch. And where we lost a bit of faith in Clements was I couldn't see what we were trying to achieve and put together. And what I like about Andy Wing and what he said since day one when he's come in, and I'll probably touch a bit more on Andy Wing, is that I've got what I've got, and I will do the best with what I've got. I won't try and change it. I won't try and implement this style of football, like maybe. And I like Mike Williamson, don't get me wrong, but like Mike Williamson's done, he's like, we'll keep the back three, we'll be hard to beat, and next season I will look to implement my style of football, or if we're safe, come the end of the season, we'll look to change it. And I really like that because there's no bullshit, there's no rubbish. It's let's do this, and he did it to a T. The only sour note was a penalty miss, and I don't watch him anyway, so it wasn't really the end of the world for me.
I think the key thing for him there, and we spoke about it earlier this season, about when you went on that run at the beginning and you were actually doing okay, it started well, didn't it? And I said Clements has he's got to build on what Pete Wild left. Yeah. And it's still there. It's just it kind of took a back seat because he tried to make those changes. And if Wing can get you kind of playing that way and can get those players back to that position that they were in, then you've got a kind of a solidish squad that can at least steer you away from the problem that you're kind of looking at the minute.
Absolutely. And I'm not being big-headed when I say this, and I hate saying this because I sound like one of those fans that like we shouldn't be where we are, but we shouldn't. Our team's way too good to be fighting relegation. I'm not saying we're a playoff side by any stretch of imagination, but we're comfortably a mid-table League 2 team. And we're just massively underperforming. And that's when I go on a standard set and all that, and I won't go on a rant about that. But we just needed a bit of direction and doing the basics well. And I'm using about 400 cliches here, but it's true because that's all you need. That's what we needed to do. And once we've done that, we look a much better football team. And just to touch on Grimsby and not keep it all about Barrow, and I said to you before, once they had to try and do something a bit different, and it wasn't all about controlling the ball, and it was trying to change that to sort of like a third or fourth gear, they looked a bit devoid of ideas in terms of how we're going to beat this side that's willing to just sit in and back themselves to just basically say, you're not going to score against us. And if I was a Grimsby fan, and I've seen Grimsby on a bad day, and I appreciate that, I'd be slightly concerned that there was no sort of change to not a plan B, but just a slight different dimension to what plan A was, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So I get what you're saying. And they're trying to make transfers this window that are going to allow them to play a different style, because I think Artell's kind of realised that once they get figured out, it's difficult, and it's like you say, like Newport, Tranmere, MK Dons, Carlisle, they're all in that kind of position where when you come up against them, we did it. Once we figured them out, we just nullified their threat completely. And there wasn't actually a second or a backup. Tyler Smith, obviously I have an interest in Tyler Smith. He's on loan from us to you. He's played for you before. He's come to you rock bottom on confidence. Did he look like a player lacking confidence?
He didn't look like a player lacking confidence, but there was a massive sense of relief when he scored, like an outpour of emotion that you could so visibly see. And I was buzzing for the lad because we'd had Tyler Smith before, obviously, and we had him as his first ever loan, and he was a young kid who just looked buzzing to play football and be given a chance. And he scored something like 9 goals for us. And he was brilliant that first half of the season. And I think he actually went to Doncaster straight after, if I'm correct. And it didn't work out for one reason or another. But I just think we're willing to give Tyler Smith time. He's going to play every week, pretty much, barring injury or complete lack of form. And I think we've got players in and around him who will give him an opportunity to shine in that position. I think he suits having someone playing up front with him. I think Presley, I'm not a massive Aaron Presley fan in the little bits I've seen. But I think he sort of unlocks the ability to sort of take a bit of heat off him in terms of, not being the single figure up front. And if you've seen his goal, and you may not have, his touch to bring the ball down, and the goalkeeper was stuck in quicksand because he didn't move. But to take the ball down and then slot the ball past him wasn't a player short on confidence by any stretch of imagination. It was just a player who really, really took his goal well, and I was buzzing for the lad. And the long may it continue, because if he's scoring goals, then it means we're likely to be going back up the table into a comfortable position this season.
Do you think that him coming into you spells the end for Dom Telford at Barrow? Do you think that Dom, because they're not going to both play together either. They're very, very similar in build and stature. I can't see it.
Absolutely. We've already tried to get rid of Dom Telford this window, and that's why Andy Dallas has gone back. We didn't want to get rid of Andy Dallas. We just tried to get rid of Telford and allegedly Jed Garner, but Oldham. The Oldham deal fell through for Telford, and apparently there was another deal that I don't know what the club is, so fell through, and Telford said he didn't want to play there for that one. Apparently, I always say apparently because I've never got privy to the conversation and whatnot.
But I have a question on that. Do you think dropping down is the right thing for him, or do you think he's still got League Two in him?
Do you know what? Dom Telford, whenever he's put on a Barrow shirt, has done nothing short of try his absolute bollocks off. And it's not for a lack of effort on Dom Telford's part. And I want to make that really, really clear, because some of our fans have sort of said, "Oh, he's lazy, so and so, and whatever." And I completely disagree with that. But if you look at Wild and you look at Clemens this season, we haven't given our strikers long enough periods of time in the team. We haven't given them runs where they've gone on to play 5, 6, 7 games. Strikers need that period of time. And when we give that period of time to him last season with Aqua, he looked really good, and they both looked like they were making a good partnership. And it's just been a shame for Telford, because nobody more than me, obviously, not just from a Barrow fan, but a Dom Telford fan, wanted Telford to come and succeed. And when we signed him, it was an absolute coup. But it's just not worked out. I think we all say this about players that we've all had, whether that be Bradford, Swindon, Stockport, whatever. You just know he's going to. It's Salford. We just know he'll go somewhere and do well, and I hope he does. Hopefully not as a negative impact to Barrow, but he will go on to do well. But I think if Smith has a really good 6 months here, I'd be more than happy to see him come back and hopefully replicate that form. I can't imagine we're paying him what Bradford are, but I think it's a fantastic opportunity for the lad to sort of get his career going again.
The thing is, on that, there's also I know that we live in a world where money makes the world go round and stuff, but there does come a point for players as well, like you say, where he could be on X amount at Bradford, but just not play, just not getting the opportunities. And if this loan spell goes well, he might say, "Do you know what? Yeah, it'll be a bit of a financial hit, but I would rather at this point play."
it's one of them. I don't think the financial hits, and I don't know. I'm not privy to how much his contract is, and I don't want to talk about it, to be honest. But I don't think the drop off from what he's on now to what he'd be on at Barrow would be absolutely like catastrophic to him.
No.
So I think that there's an opportunity for him to come and if I was a footballer, this is the way I always look at it. If I was a footballer, I'd want to play.
It's easy for us to say that, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, but it's like I've got X amount of time in my career. I'm going to play for 20 years, call it a little bit less. Just play and enjoy it. Have some fun. Go and be a hero somewhere and make some kids day.
Thing is, how old's Smith now?
27.
Yeah,
he's prime.
He's in his prime. Yeah. Tyler Smith is in his prime right now. He's 26 years old. He's just turned.
He's got more than enough time. It's not even like he needs to be considering like last big contract or anything.
No,
like he could easily make this loan work. Potentially even go back next year and say, do you know what? If I can make 18 months here work, I've got another big deal in me yet. I've got plenty of time.
Potentially another 2 big deals in him.
Yeah,
you think about it, he'll only be 28. Then that's probably peak at that point.
Yeah.
And if he ends up at a Barrow or a team like a Barrow next year, having had a good 6 months, we would make, and I'm not deluded enough to not know, we would be a platform for him to go to another bigger club. Like, I'm not thick, we're not, and I'm not naive enough or biased enough to think that we're not one of these super clubs or whatever. So, I'm a power to him if he does, because I really, because I love Tyler Smith the first time he was at Barrow, and I thought, what a great career he's going to go on and have. And it's sadly, it's not even sadly, because playing League Two football is an absolute achievement in itself. But,
absolutely.
I always thought he'd kick on and play a little bit higher, and there was a reason that Hull paid all that money for him, however long ago it was. So there's a fantastic player there, and hopefully we can unlock that. But on the subject of sort of new signings, and 2 actually, I'll go into both. MJ Williams was fantastic on Saturday. He was absolutely brilliant. Watch him sort of gather the ball, pass it on to Spence, pass it on to Gods. It's really what we've lacked in somebody who's just going to unlock players further up the pitch and get us moving, because our chance creation has been absolutely abysmal this season. And to get a player who's going to come in and distribute and just do the dirty work and go unnoticed and make crunching tackles, and for me, getting fans off the feet isn't about sticking the ball in the top corner or taking on 4 players and whatever. It's about having a bit of passion, desire, and just go and smash someone in the middle of the park and set the tone of the game early on. And he did that fantastically on Saturday. I thought he was brilliant. And I think I was having a bit of a read when we signed him, and a few comments that were made by MK Dons fans were sort of, it's not the fact that he's not been good at MK Dons. They've just been playing him centre half. And at the minute that he's gone back into midfield and played in that anchor role, he's been fantastic. And I really think for Barrow, we've got a massive coup there. I think that's a really, really good signing, because it's funny because, and I'm probably going a bit out of turn here, but Andy Wing went on Friday night. We had this thing at the club, and it was like, come down, I'll buy you all a pint, which was kind enough in its own self and whatever. But he said, like, the first thing he said, right, I want more bastards. I want more bastards at Barrow. And I was like, brilliant. I love that. You need horrible, nasty, hard workers in your side. And I think what Wing's going to do is make us extremely hard to beat this season. And I think from there, if we build that foundation and we can keep a few players, because we've got loads of players who are out of contract at the end of this year, see who the sort of the weak members of our squad are, or as Andy Wing referred to it as the sulkers. But I don't think he's named names, although I don't think it'd be a genius to figure that one out. We'll go on and hopefully have a good season next year, because I think for us now it's all about finishing mid-table, building on something that we can sort of take into next year.
Do you think so? This is a kind of a 2-part question. You've got Donny on Wednesday and then Newport. At what point will we be able to use the headline Wingstop?
Wingstop. Well, we did a TIFO on Saturday, which was just wing for us. So I suppose you can go from there. Somebody asked me what that was.
When are you going to use the Ric Flair video where he shouts "Wing"? Like that's what need to. I will send you it, because it's one of my
what, there is
videos.
So much you can do with Wing. We were sat doing it, because we've done when we've done stuff at Barrow, like banners and whatever. It's me and a couple of people who do it. it's like you've got to try and do something that's a bit unique and different. And we did the Pete Wild one for Morecambe, which you might have seen, and it went down for, depending on how you look at it, I thought it was fantastic. But I just done a 4-day bender in Germany, so I thought it was really good that I managed to even get it up, which was fantastic on the bigger banner thing. But no, I like stuff like that. I like the play on words. I like the creativity. We're currently arguing about a song for him at the moment, but no, it's good. But we said he looks like a Scandinavian, and we think there's so much potential to do some Viking related stuff with him. We've got so many ideas for him.
Yeah.
Got so many ideas to stick him on different flights.
Viking or biker, like wrestling.
I spoke to him on Friday night, and he spoke really well. He's really, really nice guy, but I'm scared shitless of him. Oh, I'm terrified of him.
He looks hard.
He's so soft natured, but it was like, Christ, you look hard. Like you kick my head in the fight. With Clements, he was a proper soft touch, but if I shouted at you with shite on a weekend, I think he'd kick my head in.
So my only gripe with just coming back to Tyler Smith is obviously we were talking about like where he's played, when he came on loan, and how many goals he scored. Every website I can find has Tyler Smith down as 5'10". Now I have spent countless hours with Tyler Smith. I am 5'10". If Tyler Smith is 5'10", I have got it wrong, and I am 6'3", because look, he's not 5'10" in any walk of life. He's not 5'10".
I think he seems quite big on the pitch.
He's not. Genuinely,
he's wearing them things in his boots, isn't he? To lift
oh yeah, lifters.
He's got some lifts in his, but his studs are 6 inch long.
It's funny
genuinely, it's like he's up to about here. And I think I'm 5'10". He's up to about here at best. And I've had, like I say, so many. I've spent hours with the bloke, and never once did I think, oh, he's my height. Like I notice height quite a lot. When I met Pfeiffer, I noticed that he's fucking massive.
Which I'm not actually that tall. I'm only 6'1".
Yeah, but it's a big difference.
Compared to Liam.
Yeah,
compared to Liam's 5'10".
Yeah, and compared to Tyler Smith's 5'10", you're even bigger. But genuinely, I've looked and I'm like, he's not 5'10", so I've checked something else and it says 5'10", and I'm like, he's lying to people.
Maybe you've grown.
Lying. Maybe I have grown, but I tell you what, if Pfeiffer's still 6'1", I haven't. I promise you.
I'm definitely still 6'1". I haven't grown any inches.
Tyler Smith is
that because I was looking at MJ Williams, and it was something like he was about to be 5'10" or 5'11". I looked at him on side, I thought, he's bloody huge. And our mate went, yeah, he's 6'2". He said, on everything, it's like wrong, but he's 6'2". And I was thinking, how did he play centre half? Well, fair play. And that was the same mate, by the way, and I'll go on this as an anecdote, to which Aaron Presley stepped up for this penalty, and he turned around to me and went, don't worry, Ronan. He scored 12 professional goals, and 7 of them have been penalties. So I thought, brilliant, they'll go right in the top corner. To which you get saved the bottom left-hand corner of the shitest penalty I've seen on replay, but, it is what it is.
Ronan, just for clarity, we know Ben's tiny. How tall are you?
Me?
All right.
No, Ronan.
If you ask me, I'm 6 foot. If you ask me, Mrs., she'd say I'm just shy of 6 foot. And it's a big argument, and it's just like toxic masculinity trait of myself.
Well, at some point we'll have to meet up then, because if I'm 6'1", you'll be able to gauge if you're hitting that 6 foot or not.
We could go like an order. It could be you, then me, then Liam.
And then Ben.
I'm not that. I'm not 5'7".
Apparently, me and Tyler Smith would be on the same level. Apparently, so
we'll stand sideways and look like the evolution of man.
Yeah, Tyler Smith is between my height and Ben's height. I'm telling you now. Ben, how tall are you?
About 5'7".
Right,
off. Yeah, Tyler Smith's between. Yeah, 5'2". Tyler Smith.
Hannah, how tall are you?
Taller than Ben.
Please tell me you're taller than Ben. Please say you're taller than Ben.
5'7.5".
Yeah.
I'm getting some fucking heels on. I'm going to get some heels. You're going to see me stilettos next time you see me. I'm super late.
Well, it's like good though, from when Warwick Davis retires, you've got a role then.
Yeah, there you go, Ben. You could be in the remake of Willow.
What about you are?
I could.
You could be hosting Tenable.
Thing is, I think there's only possibly. I think me and Hannah are older than I think everyone here, aside from Ben. I think Hannah's the only one who got the Willow reference.
I got that.
Of course you did, Ben. You were auditioned.
Yeah. I do mini me as well. I could do him as well.
You could do mini me. Right. Hannah, Salford. What went on at your beloved Salford? Because they've obviously, like we say, they've signed Negru. They started him on the bench, which I don't really understand why they started him on the bench, because they've been in bad form since he left. You'd throw him straight back in. Sure.
It's not really been bad form. I mean, the City game was anomalous, I think. Fleetwood was new manager bounce. That's fine. You can write that off as that. I think it was right. He's been out. You kind of, I think that you kind of have to earn your place back in. I don't necessarily agree that you rock. It was the same. I mean, when Louis Barry came back, he was on the bench. You kind of have to assess where people are. Don't know whether. I don't think he's been playing full. So maybe there's a little bit of attrition of fitness. Yeah, I for me that's fine. No issue with that at all.
I apologize.
Right.
I've just taken a quick glance at the chat, and it is just people ripping Ben about his height. It's just entirely about Ben's height. It's quite funny. And then for some reason, Kieran's ripping my height. I mean, I don't know how tall Kieran is. I don't know how tall Kieran is, but I'm pretty sure I've met Kieran.
Kieran's not that much shorter than me. He must be about 6 foot.
Bollocks. Kieran's on his tiptoes. Bollocks. But I will say, I'm 6 foot dead. Fifey has to be at least 6'2", 6'3". No, Fifey's 6'1", which means you're 5'11", 5'10", Kieran.
Why is everyone claiming to be 5'10"? You can't all be the same.
I'm claiming everyone is. I mean, you can, Fifey. It's not. We don't all get an individual number. But yeah, no, sorry. It was just sorry. Carry on, Hannah. I just really
right back to Salford.
Yeah.
I think the most worrying thing as a diehard Salford fan is that it was a very late goal from Curtis Till. So Cheltenham had scored one in each half, and it wasn't that Salford didn't have chances. There were chances. Ryan Watson had a good one, but it was 2-0 up to like the 95th minute or something. Possession was very heavily in Salford's side, and I find possession stats really interesting, and again, different styles of play and kind of very possession focused play doesn't necessarily materialize into goals. But for Cheltenham, they had like only 37% of the possession, so massive kind of a difference. But in terms of like shots on target, wasn't that disparate. Shots on goal, there wasn't really kind of that. I've not looked at, in fairness, the player scores, although do you know what, we've talked in the past about how like SofaScore and FootMob and that come up with the player scores, and I'm becoming increasingly skeptical about them, because who was it that we played against? There was Stockport played against someone, but then a goal was given that had been awarded to someone else, but when it had been kind of processed afterwards, they gave it to Tanto, I think, and so his score for the whole game went up exponentially because he'd scored, but it doesn't necessarily reflect they're supposed to be based on all sorts of algorithms. So who have we got next? I shall have a look.
Coming up, you guys actually have Newport, as mentioned earlier in the conversation.
It's and I think some games this week are on Tuesday and some are Wednesday, aren't they?
Yeah, so you guys are playing Newport.
We're Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yeah.
Lovely you're adopting the we. It's class.
Yeah, but no, County are also playing on Tuesday, so that one's easy. But Newport, you've got to think. I mean, Salford are down to 8th now, which is a heck of a drop. But again, it's just emblematic of the fact that it's so tight at the top. And then, in fact, I didn't notice that Bradford had slipped into the playoffs. A cheeky
Hannah, not just slipped into the playoffs, 2 points behind the Autos with a game in hand.
I've just said that, yeah.
It's Hannah, we're there. We're the informed team in the league. Last 10 games, we're the informed team in the league. Because we beat, obviously we beat Walsall.
Interesting.
Oh no, sorry.
Well,
last 8 games, bollocks to Walsall.
Salford have got Newport, then Walsall, then Bromley over the next few. So I don't know. I am glad that I didn't get carried away before Christmas.
Yeah.
In terms of the recent results, I think everyone's throwing points away. It's very overall the league this season is very similar to last season in that there's I know that Walsall are, have run away with it in terms of the difference at the top of the league, but things will change with them for Nathan Lowe. If Ethan Wheatley doesn't kick on quickly, they will notice that. So yeah, it's a good year to be a neutral League Two fan.
It's a bit like when Forest Green went well ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
I remember that.
4 years ago, 5 years ago.
No, it's not even that, mate. It's 3 years ago, 3 seasons ago. It was it was the first season we did this, so it was 21-22.
And did Matt Stevens get injured? Or was it
and it got eaten up, didn't it? The league got eaten up. If there was another 3 weeks, they would have dropped out.
Yeah, so they were 17 points clear, and I think they went on something like 6 games without a win, and it came down to the very, very end where Exeter could steal it from them. And I think if I'm right, it was Exeter, Bristol Rovers, and Forest Green that went up. Bristol Rovers did that 7-1 to Scuddy on the last game of the season.
Yeah, we were playing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you remember that.
You had Northampton, didn't you?
We had Northampton and we beat. We scored a goal dead late on, but obviously they did their business. But we scored a goal that just scuppered them. Oh yeah.
That fucked the whole season up. That consolation goal just ruined our whole season.
Yeah, Phil
we were
Brown
3-1 down, and the entire away end was devastated, and the home end was giving them absolute pelters. It was fantastic.
It was when you had Phil Brown. It was your Phil Brown season.
Can we
just
not
before
talk about
Pete
Phil
Brown
Brown?
came in. No, but it was so
we're
talking 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, we beat Forest Green 4-0.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
And again, but that was when they were on that run. It was horrific.
On to Walsall, and when we can do the Walsall Bradford thing, you can have your moment. That was their first loss in 17 league games, and they were 9 wins in a row. So it's not an insignificant hiccup in their stats. I think they lost to Fleetwood 6-2, which is an epic scoreline considering what came next. But since then they've been on a heck of a run. And then it came to an end.
Well, it did, and it came. Thing is, I think what Walsall will be looking at and what Sadler will be saying is that it's come to an end against the informed team, the other informed team in the league.
Sorry, did you say that? I missed it when you said it the first time. Inform,
yeah, Hannah.
Yeah.
The two, but it had to something had to give. Someone's form was dropping there, whether Walsall were losing their 9-game wins or whether it was us that was going to go on 5.
This isn't my usual sort of point that I would make, but I just want to throw something in more for Ben's benefit than anything else here. And it's not taken away from you because you are factually correct. But since you beat us just before Christmas, we've picked up 1 point less than you. We have played 1 game more, but we've picked up 1 point less than you in that time frame. And we've both only lost to Notts County in that time frame as well.
Yeah,
and you're owned by Clem Morfini.
We get a Clem tax. We're the
we got a Clem handicap.
So Kieran said a Bradford in form. We've lost 1 in 10. Kieran, we've lost 1 in 10, drawn 1 in 10, won 8, and that's
including. Should we wrap up the show there then? Caps, that was wonderful.
And do you know what? You can actually go back further. You could say we've technically lost 1 in 12 because we go back to the in fact 1 in 13. Go back. It goes back further. 1 in 13 like games. So I mean, looking at it, it goes back from the Barrow game where Andy Cook got injured, which does it was the Barrow home game. We played you twice in a month. The Barrow home game that we drew 1-1. We've only lost once since that game. So yeah, I mean, look, Walsall, if you'd have said to me before yesterday, you're going to beat Walsall, I'd have said we're going to nick a 1-0 win. We're going to get a last minute penalty. There's going to be something scrappy about it. But it wasn't. And we genuinely played them off the park from minute one. The best part for me was that Walsall shared out in the morning. They shared out a tweet. And it was at Liam Gordon 15, who obviously plays for them on the left. Liam Gordon was on target for the Saddlers last time we visited the University of Bradford Stadium with this fine footage strike, and they shared the video of it out. Worst player on the pitch yesterday. It was so ironic that they did that, and then Bradford bullied him. And it's like, if you watch the goal, Alex Patterson's second goal, he picks up the Sars, takes it down, kind of like with a little back heel in our own half, plays it to Patterson. Patterson runs from inside our own half, just runs the entire pitch, and he runs past Gordon. And bear in mind, this is Patterson who's been out with bad leg injuries, bad back injuries. Shouldn't be outpacing a player really at that point. Not when he's kind of running from his own half, but he did. And the full length. We were great. We gave away a penalty, and that's the only maybe negative we've got. We gave away a silly penalty. It was a nailed on penalty, but we saved it. So look, we're there. We're in form. Teams won't want to come up against us. We've got Morecambe on Tuesday night. Derek Adams is in charge of Morecambe. I don't hold out much hope for that game purely because it's Derek Adams, and he just knows how to get us. It's like when we play Pete Wild, he knows how to get us. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes. But generally, I'm pleasantly surprised with how we've done since Cook's injury. We've obviously had to adapt and not rely on him. But if we'd have had Andy Cook on the pitch yesterday and played the same way, we'd have put 5 past Walsall. And I think I'm quite confident in that. Walsall were that poor. I spoke to some Walsall fans at full time who said, obviously Jack, who's a Walsall fan who used to come on the 606, messaged me and said it's the worst they've played all year. So it's the best we've played. It just so happened that they both came on the same day. So yeah, my only concern going forward is that we've got Sars, we've got Patterson that we're heavily relying on now, and both of them have a history of injuries. With us especially, they've both been out already this season. All it's going to take, and then we've got Jamie Walker, who isn't even getting into the squad, which I think is just fucking ridiculous. When you look at some of the other players that do get in, Jamie Walker will walk into another League Two club should someone come along. So, if we lose Patterson or Sars, it kind of falls apart a little bit. So, don't know. But I'm happy. I'm very, very happy. 2 points off the autos. Don't know if I mentioned that with the game in hand. Don't know if I mentioned that. The beautiful part about that is that the team that we are 2 points off of is Doncaster, which you know I love to talk about. Obviously Bailey and Ainsley aren't here, so they're not here to defend themselves, so fuck them.
And you've got to put a game in hand over Donny.
And we've got a game in hand over Donny with 2 points. We've got it coming.
We've got
a
quite a nice run of fixtures as well coming up.
I haven't even looked aside from the Morecambe game. I'm trying not to look more than the game ahead.
I'll tell you that, don't worry. You've got Morecambe at home, then you've got Wimbledon away, then you're playing the Peter Carr Cup, and then you've got Harrogate, Aki, and then Newport.
And then MK Dons, who we've already beaten.
Yeah, so you've got all right results.
And MK Dons, who we've beaten, Bromley, who we beat 3-1. And then it comes to Salford.
You'll lose to Harrogate, though. You always do.
Well, no, we have generally, we do, but we doubled them not last season, the season before, so we can do it. We've
them in September as well.
Yeah, we've got an all right run. I would say so. Out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up until the Salford game, the 7 games there, I would be looking at a minimum of 15 points.
Wow.
If you want to be up there, you have to as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. If we've been promised a promotion push this season, so we need 5 wins out of 7, and whether they come in the terms of like so many wins and some draws, or 5 wins and 2 losses, whatever it may be, we have to get 15 points minimum. And I think the only teams that I would kind of look at and go, I wouldn't 100% expect us to beat them are possibly Wimbledon, because Wimbledon are a team that are fucking horrible to play against, really. And I'd say if Salford hit their form against Salford, but I think we'll beat MK. I think we could beat Bromley, Newport, Accrington, Harrogate, Morecambe. They should be bankers. Teams that want to go up out of this league, those are bankers. And if you don't win them, you don't deserve to go up.
Emphasize should.
Should.
That Wimbledon game's really big game.
It's huge. It's bigger than I think a lot of people realise as well. At this stage of the season, it's a big game. Wimbledon will not want to lose, especially after drawing against MK as well.
I was going to say it was the MK Wimbledon's final, wasn't it?
The MK Wimbledon's, 0-0. Not a classic by any stretch, but neither team dropped points. I think MK will probably be the happier of the two, because they're probably fed up of losing it.
The third time that in a row that they've failed to score against Wimbledon. But they've only ever drew in 30 meetings, only ever drawn 0-0 once before. There you go. These are my stats pack stats for the week, in case you were wondering.
do you want an interesting stat just for all of you, just before we go ahead?
Go on.
Out of the top half of the table, only Bradford and Doncaster won this weekend.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I was literally going to say, you've been talking about the top of the table, but it's at the bottom of the table, obviously, where I wanted to highlight. We mentioned it Friday, obviously. It was a good job we picked up 3 points, because so many teams that are down in that bottom sort of 8 picked up points. You had the likes, obviously Morecambe losing is good, but Accrington won, Carlisle won, Tranmere got a draw.
With Gillingham, who were down there as well.
Yeah.
Gillingham.
Gillingham struggling. Picking up points.
Yeah.
Gillingham are in some bother.
Yes.
Yeah. Serious bother.
Luckily, they've got the point there at the moment, or they would slip down into it. But
the thing is, what's always quite telling is goal difference. And I always remember somebody who said this to me, if you've got an okay goal difference, it's usually you'll find you aren't a bad team, you're just struggling to find results rather than being a genuinely dreadful team like Morecambe, Carlisle, Tranmere.
Gillingham have only played 25 games as well. So
Wimbledon out.
Think that if Wimbledon and Gillingham are the only then Accrington and Newport.
So you said about goal difference, Ronan. I just loaded the table up a bit quick. Starting from Morecambe at the bottom, Morecambe minus 19, Carlisle minus 19, Tranmere minus 21. They're all very much for muchness. And then you go Newport minus 12, Accrington minus 10, Harrogate minus 15. Again, all those three very much for muchness.
Yeah.
And then you go Swindon minus 7, Gillingham minus 3, Barrow minus 2, Fleetwood in 15th for on +2. That's the first time you get to a positive. And then Cheltenham just above them, they're on minus 3 again.
Yeah. And then you go to the top end of the table and you look at Port Vale.
No, we don't look at that.
No, but if you do, you go to Port Vale at 4th, they've got a +5 goal difference.
Yeah, Doncaster are only on 7.
Yeah. And then, and
then Wimbledon are on 18.
It's surreal. Like there must have been so many 1-0 wins.
Who's 11?
Port Vale, one of them teams though, it's really dire, great 1-0, but they're consistent with it.
Yeah.
You see, we've scored 7
Bradford are looking strong with their +10.
Yes, we are. Fifey.
They're in form, Fifey.
We are in form. And aside from Walsall, Wimbledon, we've not conceded. We've conceded the least in that top part of the table. Obviously, inside the playoffs and onwards, we don't count Salford, who are sat below us, who have conceded less, but they've scored less as well.
One that two teams that I've just spotted that are interesting, because you've said earlier, like, this league is erratic this year, and almost anyone can beat anyone. Grimsby make me laugh because they've won 12, lost 13, drawn just 2. Like that, they only win or lose. They can't, like, if they just turned some of those defeats into draws, they'd be doing so much better. And then vice versa, you've got Colchester who have won 7, lost 7, and drawn 13.
Yeah, and do you know what? So if you look at it, and this is the most staggering thing about Grimsby. Grimsby are 9th. They've won 1 in the last 5. They've lost 3 and drawn 1. They've picked up 4 points from their last 15 games, and they are 9th. And do you know what?
Shows how good they were till Swindon beat them.
Yeah. But, well, do you know what? I don't even think it was you guys that caused it. It was us that caused it.
Oh, of course it was.
Yeah, it was, mate. I remember it. You go back there, their run kind of no. It will have been you guys. It will have been you guys. You're the first.
Yeah, best away record.
You had the best away record in the league till you travelled down to Swindon
to watch it. Yeah, but you look, 2 wins for Grimsby. They could be in the playoffs.
Yeah,
it genuinely is a dog shit league this year. It's such a shit league. Hannah, you'll be glad. You know what, Hannah? If you'd have been in this season,
they would have pissed the league. They would have already won the title.
Already be champion.
Run away with it. You'd have run away because even though Walsall have been the most consistent, none of the 3 teams that went up last season are worse than Walsall this season. Walsall are worse than those 3 that went up last season from the autos. But then we keep talking about it because the season before, I still think that those 3 that went up were stronger than last season's 3. And then the season before that, I think that those 3 that went up were stronger than the season before. Like, I think the league has got progressive. I know you're going to disagree, Hannah, because you're a Stop Hot fan. That's fine. You can disagree. But I think, mainly because Stevenage are in that one before, and I know you don't want to agree with
Carlisle.
it. And Carlisle. No, Carlisle didn't go up autos. Don't worry about it.
No, I know.
But I genuinely think that since Richie Wellens took that Orient team up, this league has got worse and worse and worse. And now, like, look, Walsall are the best of a
very bad bunch.
Yeah, but Walsall in any of the last 3 seasons aren't in the top 3, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
and if you look at what's coming up and what's going down, it's not great. Do you know what I mean? Like Barnet, Forest Green, York in the National League. What is it? Cambridge, Burton. Somebody please help me out the other team. But it's not amazing what's coming into the league potentially. I know it's still early doors yet, but
I think Halifax are a team. We might get Crawley back. Yeah, I think. By the way, I think Crawley. If WAGMI stay at Crawley, I think they will double drop.
They'll go next year as well.
Good. Yes,
it's not good and it's not good at all in terms of how they are. The fans are obviously.
I've been out the loop with Crawley. What is going on there then?
No one knows. So they announced that Eben Smith had stepped down. Well, originally they announced that Preston had left in the summer. And Eben, well, no, he did. He actually did. He stepped away. Eben took over. They started selling all their players. All of a sudden, Preston came back and Eben stepped away. But then when the manager came in and did his interview, he spoke about how Eben interviewed him. And we were like, hang on, you've said Eben's not there. No one's mentioned out. So Eben is still involved, but not officially, I don't think. But they're kind of just... I don't know. I think they're kind of doing what they did the season before last. They're kind of hoping, do you know what? We'll stay up. We'll get there towards the back end of the season. We'll do what we did under Scott Lindsay when he obviously sent Hartlepool down. We'll do it. We'll get there, and then we'll kick on next season. And they're kind of hoping that that's the thing. But I really think that they're in that bad a position that they'll come down. They don't have a Scott Lindsay. Let's be brutally honest. They don't have a Lindsay in charge right now. They'll come down. And they'll come down again, and they do what Carlisle are doing this season. They'll be fighting at the bottom end of League Two next season. Yeah,
they're in. I mean, obviously, as great as it is in League Two, having 4 teams coming up, in League One, you have 4 going down. So, I think at the moment it's Burton, Cambridge, Crawley and Shrewsbury. Shrewsbury have the ability to pull weird wins out of nowhere. So they beat Birmingham, they beat Wrexham last week. But other than that, they're, 5 wins, 5 losses, 16. No, sorry, 5 wins, 5 draws, 16 losses. And you said about Northampton. Northampton are down there as well. Peterborough are down there. It's a weird league. Burton kind of could have been incredible this season, and they just have not.
It'd be fantastic for me if Peterborough, Northampton, and Burton were to all get relegated. That would make away days a lot more manageable.
Bristol as well.
What was that, Ronan?
Our closest away is an hour and a half. Can we have no more southern teams?
We have
no more northern.
No, we have more southern teams, Ronan. You've hogged them all. You've hogged them all. We've got no one. Our nearest game is fucking in another country.
That's a good point.
Forget Cheltenham in our league this year.
Oh yeah, you got Cheltenham, but
can I just
draw no one round them.
So going back to just the Walsall thing, can I just draw all your attention to Kieran's comment here? Walsall, if they go up, come straight back down. I think the only possible promotions contending side that could stay in League One is Bradford. Kieran, I don't know if anyone's told you, but we are actually in form and 2 points behind League Autos.
I tell you what, that's that Tom Hardy meme where it's like, that's bait. That's bait.
Yeah, 100%. As soon as I read it, I was like, he's taking the piss here. But do you know what? I'm holding him to it.
He has like Kieran has done like the last 27 comments in the chat, and Liam's flashed one of them up.
Yeah. Well, there's not really else. No. There's another positive one.
Yeah, let me guess which one.
100%.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
What about the one above it?
You can put that up any time though.
Oh, I said there, Bradford are now in form and 2 points behind the Autos with a game in hand. I don't know if anyone's mentioned that. But yeah.
What about the one above it, Liam? Do you want that one as well?
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Kieran's work. I wasn't aware
you seem
of
to have
it,
missed one. There was one in between them that you've just
deleted it.
Yeah.
I think, like I say, it's a poor league. The worry is how prepared are teams that go up from this league this year going to be for League One next season? Because League One, the golf in League One is growing.
Huge.
It is growing.
It's weird, isn't it? Because this seems to be the topic of conversation in every division this year, more so than any other year that I can remember. For my sins, I listened to TalkSport on my way home from work, and they're obviously talking about the 3 sides that came up from the Championship are just so far behind anyone else in the Premier League. Then you're talking about the Championship as saying with the possible they're saying it obviously because of the momentum and money behind them. They're saying Stockport, Birmingham, Wrexham, maybe anyone else in League One is going to struggle to maintain in the Championship if they were to go up. And then Hannah was saying, if the teams to come down, you're not really looking at any of them really demolishing this League Two. And like Ronan said, if you look at the teams from the National League, they're not going to come in and do a Stockport and Wrexham to us. So is this golfing class just everywhere now? You are just a League One side and that's it. You can't. You're too good for League Two, too shit for the Championship. You're not going anywhere.
And the problem is as well, those clubs at the bottom of the Championship. So Derby obviously only went back up last season. Mm-hmm. Luton, who went all the way up to the Premier League and are on the way back down. Yeah. And Plymouth, who are this beautiful example, supposedly, of a sustainable, community-driven football club sitting on the bottom of the Championship. And the issue is, in the January transfer window, everyone knows how desperate these clubs are. Yeah. And even the ones just above, your Stokes, your Hulls, and they're getting absolutely fleeced for salaries because it is a risk for players to go there because, they might not be a Championship player in 6 months. But they also know how desperate those clubs are to stay in the Championship and not risk that drop to League One and drop in revenue.
And this is why I think generally as well, the January transfer window has just become a bit of a farce. It used to be really fun and exciting.
Yeah.
And now it's just become a bit boring because clubs can't afford to they have to an extent. They have to pay out and they have to pay over the odds for these players. But they can't afford to do that on too many of them because they equally know if we go down, we're in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's when you you start to have release clauses and things, don't you? And the promise that the players won't get dragged down with you, but that's not always the best way to go into a.
And look, Carlisle are the prime example of what could horribly go wrong here.
Yeah.
Like really, really could go wrong.
You say horribly. He's
brilliant. Honestly, I don't think I've ever gone into my disdain for Carlisle United, and I really hope there's listeners on who really hate me for saying it, because these are a horrible pack of entitled. I can't think of a word that isn't something that I really shouldn't use on this, but I'm really enjoying it.
There's no words that you can't use on this.
Do you know what? I've never got to do it, but I'm really enjoying it, and I really hope Chris Lumsden having a terrible time because he's no longer got his mate there that he's defending week in, week out in Paul Simpson, who is completely the reason that this football club is on its absolute arse. And it's fantastic. And you know what? I'm enjoying it. And I'll say that I am enjoying it.
I'm very neutral to the whole situation. I don't care who goes down as long as it's not us.
You don't have that. You don't have that. I don't want to say a local thing to it because it's weird. So like we're not local to Carlisle. Barrow aren't local to Carlisle.
No, not at all.
But no, it's just they're the most local, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it's same when they play Hartlepool. When Hartlepool were in the league, it's 90 miles. Like it's 90 miles. If you look, I think the distance between Carlisle and Bradford isn't far off that. Like, because you are the closest, and that's why there's kind of been this thing between us. Obviously, there was that what's that? Ronan's photo was just gone up on all dartboards in Carlisle.
To be honest, it's already there, so I've not really asked.
I won't worry about it. They'll have to sell them to make ends meet in Carlisle at this point.
Do they have dartboards in Carlisle? Like, it's just like slabs that they just draw on. And
they usually they don't sling things at dartboards. They're usually just slinging one up the sister. So my view on it is that we're not a rival for them, but because of that playoff game, we kind of were. They were exactly the same. But like Hannah, you guys played them in that final. We played them in the semi-final. They weren't good. They weren't a good side.
It was an awful game. Neither team was good. But they definitely. I mean, it's penalties. Penalties are a gamble, aren't they? Like, yeah.
And they won ours with a last minute extra time goal. Like that's probably the worst. Like for a fan, it's a great way to go up. It's a great experience. You know, you get the last minute goal. You go to Wembley. You win on penalties. It's a great experience.
Wasn't cool.
But for the team, it's probably the worst way to go up. Because you're not going up with any real confidence because you've lost the first leg, you've scraped through the second leg, and then you failed to win in the final in 90 minutes. And you've got to go up and compete against teams that are going to be better than this week in, week out. And that's where, like, you know, being brutally honest, look at Crawley. Crawley demolished the playoffs. Crawley destroyed MK Dons in the playoffs last season. Was it 8-0 on aggregate or 8-1 on aggregate?
Ridiculous. 8-1. They buried them at their own Stadium MK, didn't they? That was unbelievable performance. And they can't scrape a win. They can't scrape two passes together in League One. And that's the playoffs. We're getting to a point where the playoff teams aren't good. And I think unless you finish fourth and just miss out on the autos, and then dominate the playoffs, you're going to really, really struggle in League One. So yeah, it's a really, really interesting thing to look at. And I'm going to be interested to see how it goes the rest of the season. Because look, being honest, Burton signed, let's say, a League Two dream team in the summer. So it'd be interesting to see what they do if they come down.
Blake Tracy.
And Fraser, yeah. And who's the other one? Is it Godwin Malifi?
Godwin Malifi,
yeah. They signed.
Did he end up at Burton?
Yeah. He's playing week in, week out.
Oh God.
So yeah, that's kind of where I'm. Look, has anyone got anything else they want to add? Obviously, previews and things we're going to do either Wednesday or Thursday this week. We'll get a preview out. That is for anyone watching. This episode is going to go on Spotify and things from tomorrow. I'll put all that on Spotify. The Thursday show, the preview show, is going to stick to YouTube only. So if you want to watch us, we'll be there.
Well, I did have one question. You're saying obviously we've been a preview show, but as we said, there's like almost a full fixture list across the midweek. Is there not a Sky Plus game?
They're all on Sky Plus.
They're all on Sky Plus.
They're all on Sky Plus.
That's why you're on Wednesday.
Wednesday night, we are the game that everyone should be watching.
Well,
Oh,
if you want
I'm
to
up
do
for that.
Wednesday night, guys, we could do the Wednesday night preview whilst watching the game along. If you want,
I'll be at the
We could
game.
do-
I always enjoy.
You could, yeah, but Ronan, you could be at the game. You can drop on at halftime and give us an update.
I've
You can
done
drop
that
on at full
before.
time.
It's fun.
No, you never want me to do that because we'll
We
lose.
do.
No, I had everyone
We had
doing
it
that
on Friday night.
Wait,
Oh.
yeah, get it done.
Yeah, so we'll do it. We'll do Wednesday night then if you want, because there's games.
Yeah.
We can talk about the games from Tuesday night. We can talk about the games on Wednesday night. We can preview the weekend's games, but that will stick on YouTube. It will stay on YouTube, and then maybe in a week or two, it will then drop onto Spotify and things like that. People to catch up on. But the review shows, they're going to stick to Spotify's. The rest will stay strictly to YouTube, so you can see our beautiful faces and Ben as we go forward. So, Ben, you know I love a dig. Yeah,
Ben's looking hot these days, by the way.
He is. Ben has been
Ben is having a
bettering
glow up.
himself. Ben's been bettering himself in the gym. I have don't do that, Ben. Dragging yourself back down there. But no, look, I'm enjoying this again. It's took a long time for us, I think, to get back to this, like enjoying doing these shows and stuff. And it so we're back and we're enjoying it and we're going to push on. And Kieran's been in chat. I'm half thinking Kieran wants a place on the panel. He might have got well done at this point. We have got enough Swindon. Although you do have a fool that supports Cheltenham as well, I think, don't you?
Oh, former fool who supports Cheltenham.
I was going to say, who could possibly follow two local rival teams?
Well, he does.
Oh no, this one's a bit different.
So it was always a case of like Swindon was his football league team and Cheltenham was his non-league team. But of course, then it transpired that we were just as shit as each other.
You're going to say it, and in 12 months' time, he'll be able to just reverse those. It'll be his non-league team. Right, guys, thank you very much. It's been fun.
Enjoyed this.
The outro. Yeah, it's been good. Thank you very much for all doing it, guys. And we will see you on Wednesday. Wednesday
evening. Tomorrow, though, if you've got nothing else to do.
Fools Rush In is on tomorrow. And just before you go, Fife, am I right in saying that Woody and Richard's team have drawn Swindon Town women in the cup?
They have.
Yes.
Which is massive. So two of the Fools run a manager and coaches for Wootton Bassett's women's team, and they have tonight drawn Swindon Town's women's team in the cup. So, which is massive. That's a cracking draw.
The drama with that, and we're waiting an update, is that cup game is the semi-final of like the Wiltshire Shield or whatever they refer to it as. That's due to be played Valentine's weekend, so it'll be Sunday the 16th. Now, bear in mind, I'm trying to think geographically how to explain this, but Swindon to Wootton Bassett, if you were to go ground to ground, take roughly what, Ben, 25, 30 minutes, if that?
Yeah, not that far.
But because it's a Wiltshire competition, it's currently scheduled to be played at 10:30 a.m. in Devizes, which is half an hour south of Swindon and south of Bassett. So they want all these people from essentially here to all travel south for no reason whatsoever, when they could just put it on at the county ground and it'd be convenient for everybody.
I know they should have it at Swindon, shouldn't they?
They should have it at Swindon. We've done it. Bradford have done it in the cup games. We've done the women's games at Valley Parade. They've had it on the full pitch. It's been great.
I've not fully committed. I'm waiting on the update, but I'm hoping that I should be able to get down there for the weekend. I would just rather it be in Swindon or Bassett, so I don't have to travel the extra half an hour
It's
to
been
get to Devizes.
Confirmed 10:30
Devizes. It's been confirmed. So, right, guys.
Here at like 6 in the morning.
Well, guys, thank you very much. Leave Fifey in distress. We will see you on Wednesday. Ciao.